Hello guys, today we're going to be doing a simple timer using ReactJs. Okay, so we have to do a simple counter with React. I think it needs to look like this. So our challenge is to first do the HTML of this and then update the DOM or the component, the React component, on every second with whatever we need to. So to start, and well, it also says as additional requirements that the component is not supposed to receive any properties. The component must store its local state. In the local store state, how many seconds have passed, and the clock icon on the left of the component, you can find it on Font Awesome. It's referring to this icon, this clock. Okay, so let's start by starting a new project like always. For that, we have to get inside our folder. I'm gonna get back to, because I have several projects here, but it doesn't really matter. I'm in workspace right now. Let me get inside projects. Then I'm gonna make a new directory saying simple counter. Then I'm gonna get inside of it, and here I will find in the GitHub repository the name of the, I think it's, let me see, NVM is 8. I'm just upgrading to NVM 8 to Node 8 because it's the minimum requirement to use the breathecode CLI. Breathecode start React. So this command is to start a new project in React. It will create a lot of folders inside of ours. You will see here that it's doing a lot of things. It's basically creating an entire system of folders so that we could start working right away, because doing configuration can be very complicated sometimes. Now what you have to do is npm run c9, and we'll see how it doesn't work. I think we're missing, we are missing npm install. That's the last one. This is gonna take a while, so I'm just gonna pause. Okay, it's finished now. If you're not working on Cloud9, because I'm gonna do npm run c9 because I'm working on Cloud9 and it's made for it, this command, it will run my development server that is gonna do hot deploy, so I'm gonna be able to see live all the changes that I make. If you are not using c9, you have to do npm run, I think it's dev server, like this, and it's gonna run it. But I think in Cloud9 it's better to use it with C9 because it also chooses the ports that we're going to be using. Because in Cloud9 only certain ports are allowed. But it's cool because I'm able to edit on the cloud, so I don't need to install any software. So basically, our project is running. You can go to your local host, and you would probably see it running. If I don't see it running, it's because probably I have to use the Cloud9. The Cloud9 command. Here it is. You will see the baby of Rigoberto. And now, this is a boilerplate, right? So all of this is just to show you that Bootstrap is installed and everything. But we should get to work because we don't need any of this. We need to do our counter. So to start, everything always starts on the index. The index is importing React and React DOM. Then we're importing Bootstrap. Then we're importing our own styles, our own style sheet. And finally, we're importing our first component, that it's home in this case. So let's open home. And for us, home, we don't need home anymore. We don't need home. So let's just delete home. And here we'll do the component. So basically what we need to do is something like this. I'm going to start by creating a component. So function, we can call it counter or simple counter. You can have components as functions or as classes. In this particular case, I'm going to create it as a function, so I have to return the HTML. I'm going to start by returning hello world like always. Hello world. The property, the parameter that it receives always is props. Let me put this in parentheses so Cloud9 doesn't think it's an error. And then I can say here simple counter. It's still in yellow. I have an error here, simple counter. What could be the error? Ah, the p tag has to close, so I didn't close it. Cool. Now I save, and instead of seeing Rigoberto, we should see hello world. And there it is. Okay. Now the next step will be to start doing our HTML. So I'm going to change this to div. I'm going to remove the hello world. Let's say that for us it's going to have our styles. I'm going to do for each box here, I'm going to do a different div, and then for the big thing, we're going to do another div. So the big thing is this one. Let's call it, let's assign a class big counter. And then for the small ones, we can call them, well, it depends on each of them, right? So the first one I'm going to call, on the right, I'm going to call seconds. So class name, seconds. Then this one will be seconds or digit, maybe 1 digit, 2 digit, 3 digit, and then I think it's like 4. We don't. And then finally the actual calendar. So let's call it calendar. Let me look for the calendar in font awesome. So font awesome icons. Then here I guess I have to put like clock. Here it is. But this one is not the free version, I think. Let me see if it says, yeah, apparently both are free. So I'm just gonna copy the icon and put it here in the first position. And then I'll have to import the icons. So to import icons, this has to be a class name. To import icons, we have this template, I think, in Flux. No, I know I have it somewhere. I think template. Oh yeah, we can get it from this project. Source JS utils icons. Yeah, you need 5 steps to import off an awesome icon. I'm just gonna paste this here, this file here. I'm gonna call it icons.js, and inside of it I'll paste all of this. The first thing will be to import the Font Awesome library. If you haven't installed it, you'll have to do something like npm install Font Awesome, Fort Awesome. The second one will be to import the actual icon that you want. In our case, we want FA clock. So let's call it FA clock. And also you have to check when you copy the icon tag, it says FAR. So the last letter is important because it says that it's not S, it's not solid here. It's a different one. So the R stands for something else that I don't remember. Let me here put the actual icon. Here we can also put FA clock. Yeah, so it's not solid. I think it's regular. Yeah, it's regular. You can see here in the URL in the top. So I think I have to say here regular. So let me put them all together so you can see them. So the first thing will be to actually import from Awesome. You only have to do this once. Then for each icon that you want to add into your project, you have to say the name of the icon. Then import. I want to use SVG on the. I want Webpack to no Webpack from Awesome to use my icons as SVGs because they perform better in the website. So that this configuration is for that. And then lastly, I'm gonna add them into the Font Awesome library, the FA clock. If you have more icons, you can put them separated by a comma, or you can run this several times, this line of code. Okay, so now I'll save it and it should work. Let's see. I should see something. Let me see if they have an error. Everything seems okay. Let me see if I say something here like 0, 0, 0, 0 and the clock. What happens? The bundling is okay and those are the zeros, but I don't see the Font Awesome icon. So let's see what's happening. There's the calendar and there's the icon. Because I didn't import icons into my index. So lastly, you have to say import icons.js. So it's part of your bundle now. Well, it has to be a relative path because it's not in the node modules folder. And if I don't put the backslash at the beginning, it's gonna think it's in the node modules folder. So now there's the clock. You see it? The little clock. Okay. Now let's make them to the right, so they display in a line. So for that, I'm going to say the counter. Any div that is a child of the counter, it's going to be always display inline block, and it's going to have a width of, well, let's say that it's going to have a font size of, I don't know, like 30 pixels maybe. Maybe that's too much. Let's say 20 pixels. And then it's gonna have a line height because we want it to be centered. So the line height has to be the same as the height. And the height, it's gonna be also 20 pixels. Let's see what we're doing here. Let's wait for it. There you go. Now I'm gonna make it with a background color. Background exactly the same color as the example, so I just need to use the color picker from Apple. Windows has a bunch of good color pickers too. I'll just copy this color and then I'll put it here and let's see what happens. There they are. Now the code in white, color white. And finally I'll put, I don't know if it's finally, but we're close to finishing. The padding is, I don't know, 10 pixels. So they have like a, let me just remove the height and see what happens. Okay, it's center, that's cool. Let's make the font even bigger. Let's make it 60 pixels and see what happens. Okay, if this one's 60, the other one needs to be 62. Okay, we have something. Now we can, to big counter, We can apply also an inline block. Display inline block, and then we can center it by saying a margin auto. Let me see what happens. Yeah, nothing changed. So I guess I have to also set a width to it. Well, let's do a text align. Text align, center. Let's see what's happening here. The big counter, margin auto. Maybe we have to put a width so the margin auto works. So it seems that the width needs to be probably the entire thing. Yeah. So with text align center was enough. So margin item in name block is not edit. Yeah, if we want to keep making it better, this exercise is not about CSS and HTML, so I'm just gonna leave it like this. I'll just apply a little margin because we should focus on the React part. That is what we want. Okay, I have 4 digits. Now I have to set. I'm gonna convert this into a class, so we could use the state. No, let me try to do it first as a function. Yeah, and then we can change to a state. So the function was simple counter. I will need to pass, since the only way to pass stuff to it is through the props, because it's a functional component. It's a component as a function. We will have to actually have here as properties. We can say here like digit 1, or let's say, yeah, digit 1 is okay. This one will be digit 2, digit 3, so digit 2, digit 3, and this one will be digit 4. Okay, then here we will have to actually pass those digits, right? So what we're gonna be doing now is actually calculating that. I'm gonna set an interval. The set interval function calls a function every few seconds or every few milliseconds. So I'm just saying I want to call this function every second. Let me see, every 1000 seconds. So every 1000 seconds I'll render simple counter again, but I'll pass different digits to it. Let me initialize the counter here. I'm going to say counter equal to 0, and then here as digit 1 I'll pass counter, but I need to only pass the first digit of counter. So for that, what we could do is say dot index of, and then depending on how big counter is, I will have to know how many digits counter has. I can retrieve the first or the last character in counter. That's one thing. Another thing would be, because we know it's 4 digits always, so if I divide this between 10, the comma will be what's after it. So I can say, for example, let's say that my counter is 5550. So if I divide 555 with the calculator, if I divide 555 by 0, it gives me a reminder of, it gives me the other 3. So I guess by saying let for it's equal, it can be a const for it's equal to math.floor counter divided by 4 digits, and we can do the same for the others, like 3, 2, and 1. So this one will be time divided by 100, this one by 10, and this one by 1. Yeah. Actually, it's one more always, so we can have a comma, like a decimal. And then we'll not ignore let's see what we have here. I'm just gonna console.log everything, so I understand what's happening here and what numbers do I have. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let me take this out first because I don't want to focus on that, and let me see the console. It says it's missing the props validation. Yeah, let me also do the props validation. That's because we're using the prop types library, so you want to always validate with prop types, like how it's saying here. Let me show you. If you go to the prop types npm repository, you can copy from here how the validations should be done. All you have to do is put something below the component saying the name of the component dot prop types as an object, and then you have to specify all the properties that the component is going to have and what data type they have. So it's going to have the 4, the 3, the 2, and the 1. And this is all going to be number. And we have to import prop types. Import prop types from prop types. Let's see if now it works. Yeah, like now we have on the 30th we have a missing semicolon, and that's it. Well, we don't need this comma here, it's just a warning. But we can already check what we have. It's always 0. So it's not, we forgot to increment it. So let's do it. Let's increment it. Counter plus plus. So it turns out that I had it right. It's a math.floor, but instead of 10, 100, instead of 10, 100, 1,000, and 10,000, it should be 1, 100, 110, 100, and 1,000. If I refresh, you will see here that at the beginning it's 0, 0, 0, then 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0. So basically, I have, and when we get to 10, we have 1 here, and we have also the second digit of this guy will be our what we want. So for now, I'm gonna just pass it to simple counter as digit 1 will be 1. Then 2 will be digit 2, I have to put it also inside the timer. 3 will be 3 and 4 will be 4. So digit 2 here, digit 3 here, and digit 4 here. Let's see what we have here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Boom. Yeah. So you're probably wondering what's going to happen with the number 1 here. And I have no idea. Let me just figure it out. I think that's also going to happen with the other ones. So since I only care about one digit, I guess I can ignore the second one. Maybe we can do like the same we did with the other ones. Here we can say that we only want the first digit. So it turns out that to retrieve the last number of the last digit of a number, all you have to do is get the model of it, like by 10, say in a percentage 10, we can get the last number like this, and that will give us the last number. So I'm just gonna refresh this, and you'll see how it should. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then it works. So now we're doing it on every refresh. And that's it. That's the project.